you did the voice of Ronald Reagan in the Two Tribes Rampage song. I think you did it in Spitting English as well.
Are you a Czech journalist?
No, I'm English. I'm originally from London.
I was going to speak, even with a London Czech person speaking English with a London accent. Why did you ask me this in London?
Well, that's true, because I live here. But,
you're sensible. You've got out of England.
So I thought maybe you could. Can you still do Ronald Reagan?
Well, I'm just recovering from a cold, so that helps the voice a little bit. So yeah, a little bit. Nancy, I told you not to work, Nancy. Yeah, we had great fun doing Ronald Reagan, and I did that. I did a one-off session. I think with Paul Morley, the producer of those records, in a studio in the East End of London, and we did a whole load of stuff for the Two Tribes record. Because Frankie Goes to Hollywood, they, I think they sort of those Relax and then Two Tribes. They were sort of quite, they sort of put the cat amongst the pigeons in the music industry around that time, didn't they? And they were quite sort of strong songs, and it was just very exciting to be part of it.
Yeah. Well, Relax was bad for BBC radio, wasn't it? I think. But Two Tribes, they were fine.
Yeah, no, it was good to be part of that. So.
I was tempted my first question to say, would you like some toast?
There's any breaded product, breaded products, sir.
I thought maybe it would throw me out for that.
Next, anyone else?
Can I ask you? Imagine you find yourself on the ship, and you're not river. How would you deal with the crew if you were stuck on the Red Dwarf with them?
If I, Chris Barrie, was stuck on Red Dwarf with Lister, Cat and Crichton.
And the Rimmer.
And Rimmer.
Yeah.
I can put up with the other three, but not Rimmer. I'd have to, it's a big Starbug or Red Dwarf, which ship?
Let's make it Red Dwarf. Let's make it easier.
Given the Red Dwarf is several miles long, probably 7 miles long, isn't it? To the experts. I'd probably have an opportunity to get away from them. So that would be all right. If we were on Starbug, I'd be out in the sort of cargo area, and that's it, sort of thing. But I don't know what I'd do. It would be very difficult to leave my life, my future, in the hands of four, ne'er-do-wells, let's just call them. But I'd hopefully get a good laugh, that's for sure. Because some of the lines they come out with are quite funny. But they're. I'm sure Craig will have more to say about that when we arrive. Next.
I want to ask you about Blackadder, the Blackadder series, because you were in one episode, and how do you remember that work? Because that's one of the best Britcodes.
Yeah, Blackadder was. There were things like The Young Ones around at the time. Blackadder was doing well. There was quite a whole raft of British comedies that were sort of. It was a good healthy time for British comedy. And Blackadder, I knew John Lloyd, the producer, from my Spinning Image days, from doing Reagan and that lot. Blackadder was extraordinary because you always compare how they do Blackadder to the way we do Red Dwarf, or in my case, the British Empire, how people get to the evening they face the audience and record the show. And the thing about Blackadder was there was never any, even by the middle, in the second half of the week, there was no clear run of the show, and that was extraordinary. And Rowan Atkinson, brilliant, obviously. He seemed to be very behind everyone else with the lines and all this sort of thing, which in Red Dwarf and British Empire we would never. By Wednesday from the Monday, you need to off the book, know the lines, and they're running the show. But it wasn't like that in Blackadder. So I was amazed that when we got to the studio on the Friday or Saturday, the Rowan Atkinson had this sort of word-perfect performance. It just came from nowhere, So that's what it sort of struck me as. But it's much the same in terms of rehearsing and blocking and then rewriting various episodes, various scenes. But yeah, very exciting, and to work with John, you know, and I think Richard Curtis wrote, and Ben Elton shared writing on that series, I think. But yeah, very, very exciting, and you know you're in good comedy hands with people like that around, you know. Anyone else?
Red Dwarf group, please.
Sorry.
How do you see the end of this story of the Red Dwarf group?
Well, I know that Doug Naylor, the director and of course writer of the later shows, more or less on his own, he doesn't want to sort of bring it to an official end. He doesn't want, you know, to sort of herald this is the last one. He wants it to go out maybe on another story, you know. So I think that's the best way. I would rather there not be an official end. You know, I think it just needs to go out when it does and stop when it does. Because you never really want to say never. You know, you never want to say that's the last, we can't do it again. Because, you know, as long as we can just about walk and talk at the same time, they might want to do more. So yeah, I haven't imagined a specific way the show will end. We'll just have to see.
Every time you come back to playing in the Red Dwarf, how do you feel? Is it like, you know, wearing an old favorite jacket, or, you know, some kind of a little bit of boredom, or, you know, you're just playing and it doesn't matter what are you doing?
You stole my line. It's like putting an old jacket on.
Favorite
you know?
one, yeah.
As soon as you get in the, like when we went back to Earth in 2009, we haven't done any Red Dwarf for about 10 years.
Yeah.
So as soon as you got the outfit on, costume on, slap the H on, you know, started to rehearse the lines, it was like we hadn't been away. It was like, you know, we did this last week. So, and it's always exciting. For me, and I think for most good shows, the bedrock is the script.
Mm-hmm.
And we never fail in a read-through to be laughing at the script.
And have you ever added something to your script, you know, from yourself?
Well, yeah, you know, the longer the show has been going on,
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we're rehearsing scenes, we would sort of improvise a little bit because we know the characters quite well. Robert and Craig are the best at that. I mean, they're brilliant. They could have Lister and Crichton go on forever, you know, and then Danny's pretty good as well. I'm probably the least capable in that department. You know, I like the script. Rimmer's written very well for it anyway, so as are the others. But yeah, there's a little bit of improvisation, but then it's blocked quite stringently for the cameras anyway. But yeah, Doug absolutely loved us to have an input, and Ed By, the director back in the day, would always be excited by the fact that we're going to be doing a little bit of improv. Yeah, great fun. But yeah, we have to script it tightly, ultimately, for the cameras.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Is Red Dwarf your favorite project?
Red Dwarf, my favourite show? Well, you know, the other main show that I did, sitcom, was Red Empire. Was, I don't know whether that's been out here. Some of you may have seen it, you know, on YouTube and DVDs and stuff. But people ask me, you know, what is your favourite show, and it comes down to between those two. And I say I don't really have a favourite one. But what I would say is Red Dwarf's been the backbone of my career because we've done it since 1987. We first met in 1986, and then there was an electrician's strike in 87, so we didn't record it until the very end of that year. And then their first transmission was early 88. So I wouldn't say it's my favourite, but I'd certainly say it's been the most important show in my life, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Anyone for anyone else?
There is one question.
Okay.
We can.
Gentlemen?
Now, which actor or actress would you like to work with the most?
Which actor or actress would I like to work with the most?
Yes.
Ooh, I've never really.
We have still some time, so you can think about it.
Yes, I don't really know. I've been fortunate enough to work with some fantastic actors and actresses I don't know how PC everyone is here, but of course nowadays they all lump them together as actors, don't they? But I quite like calling actresses actresses and actors actors. A bit old-fashioned in that respect. But yeah, no, look, I've worked with Angelina Jolie in Tomb Raider. I worked with Craig Charles, who's on his way here today in Red Dwarf. I've worked with the Spitting Image Puppets. I've worked, yeah, look, I don't know, I think sometimes I'm daunted. If someone said to me, like, you're going to be working with Anthony Hopkins, I would say, wow, he is probably one of my favourite actors who's still alive. You know, that I love the work that he's done, you know, year after year sort of thing. But I'd be quite scared because, you know, I think maybe I won't come up to the standards he expects sort of thing. So yeah, look, I haven't really worked out who but I'll think a little bit more about it and see what happens. Yeah.
Any other questions? We have the last chance.
Well, on your Wikipedia page, which of course might not be true, it said that you once worked as a grave filler, not a grave digger, which I guess is a harder job, isn't it? Because you're filling. Is that really true?
Yeah, I worked for Wickham District Council.
Okay.
In I think it was 78, 79, soon after I left school. I mean, the main job was mowing the lawns, mowing the verges, the grass verges, and all that sort of stuff. But digging the grave was a skilled job that the foreman and his other skilled guys did. And yeah, you're right. You've got to get the size right. But filling it, yeah, was just get a shovel and in it goes. And yeah, you know, obviously we were just labourers there, and the funerals that we did were, you know, we didn't know the people, but usually that sort of thing is done, you know, we came into it really after the funeral ceremony had passed. So yeah, it was just a labouring job really, that we turned the mowers off and went up with our shovels, and you know, I was 18 or 19, so in the summer.
Yeah.
Summer job on a sunny afternoon in High Wycombe, you know, the things you do, eh?
Yeah.
It was a dead end job, though. Next.
We have one here.
Okay. Before the Red Dwarf, have you ever had any contact with science fiction or fantasy? You know, some books, movies, or it was just, you know, something new, shocking for you?
Well, do you know what is quite surprising? Or what some people find surprising about me is that I was never really a science fiction kind of person. I didn't really watch. I mean, I watched Star Trek and saw, you know, William Shatner as Wolverhampton Wanderers, jersey, you know, football reference. You know, I was quite interested in that. I watched Doctor Who. My personal Doctor Who would have been Patrick Troughton into John Pertwee, and then what do you call him, Tom Baker. And then since then I've met most of the doctors, you know, at Comic Cons and things. Anyway, so yeah, I was vaguely interested in those shows. But science fiction, yeah, to me, when Red Dwarf came along, the fact it was in space was almost secondary. It was, I mean, that was interesting to set it there, you know, and all the references and all the plots and all the Space Corps situation, and mining and all the Jupiter Mining Corporation and all that. But really, it was early on. It was billed as Steptoe and Son in space, Lister and Rimmer. So Steptoe and Son. Do you all know what Steptoe and Son is? No, you know what Steptoe and Son is. Well, Steptoe and Son is a British comedy from the 1960s mainly, and it essentially it's father and son. They're rag and bone men. They're sort of junk men, really, gathering junk, and it's a father and son relationship. But they're always constantly at each other's throats. They're always arguing, always bickering, and that, in a sense, is the situation with Lister and Rimmer in those early series. And you know, the series, I suppose that the first 8 series mainly, where the bunk scenes predominate, you know.
Yeah.
So to me, it was that sort of, it was an acting job. It was a character acting job. I'd been doing impersonations for most of my career up to that point. So it was great to be able to sort of leave that behind a little bit. I was doing spitting image, so alongside it as well. So it was good to leave that and just do a character performance. And as I said, you know, I knew Rob and Doug from Grant and Nella from the Jasper Carrot show and then Spitting Image, so I knew the scripts were going to be good. And I was thrilled that eventually Craig and I were cast.
Thank you very much.
We have the second.
Great Charles. Great Charles, the life, the man, the myth, the legend. How are you, man? Good to see you.
Sorry, mate. Just got off the plane. Yes, you alright, Mr. Barrie?
Not bad, bud. Not bad. You alright?
Yeah, good.
Good flight?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, enjoyed it. Very short, an hour and 30, so it was a tailwind.
Tailwind. Yeah, we had a tailwind yesterday.
My first time here, you?
My first time here, yeah.
I can't believe you got on a plane.
Well, I was just saying, Sebastian has been begging me to get on the plane for several years, but
Yeah.
I couldn't get out of it this year.
Hey guys, may I ask you for a picture, please? Together? Thank you. Thank you.
Good to see you. I've been fielding a few questions.
Have you? They've gone dumb since I walked in.
Well, yes, they need a little bit of priming, but we got going quite well. So I think it's probably going to be your turn, or both of our turns, here on in.
Okay, so we can continue with questions if you have any. We have last 5 minutes ish. Do you want to ask something to Craig or also to Robert?
Can I?
Yeah, sure.
Would you imagine 35 years ago that the Red Dwarf is going to be such a huge hit?
Not really. We thought we'd do a couple of years, didn't we? We thought we'd do a couple of years, curious BBC sitcom, and then go about our business, do other things. But it just kind of built a momentum in Britain and this massive following. And the scripts kept getting better and better and better, so the standard was still there, and then it just got a life of its own. God, 36 years later.
Yeah, we could be doing more.
Yeah, we're sort of talking about doing a new one now, a new 90 minutes special, a bit like Promised Land, that sort of, that format. So,
I mean, we were thinking after series 1 that we might not get another. You know, that was the thing. You know, we think after series 1. Now, those are the days where they gave you a sort of second chance. Whereas these days, if you don't sort of hit the ground running, sort of thing, you're parked off at 4 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. You know, so you know, it's good that they persevered with us. And but even after series 3, I didn't think we'd be together. You know, doing another one. You know, 34 years later. So.
And do you have a favorite episode?
Pardon?
Do you have a favorite episode?
Yeah, all the ones around funny. Favourite episode, what do you reckon? I like Back to Reality. Was that series 5, was it? Back to Reality, that's where we all Tim Spall, where we all wake up and think we're in a video game. I like that one. I don't really have favourite episodes, I have favourite scenes, you know. I have scenes that I really enjoyed filming. Like the scene with me and Crichton and Polymorph where he's trying to get my shrinking boxes off and he's got his drawing attachments out. I know it's quite low humour, but it makes me chuckle, you know. So.
And a rimmer comes in and says, Crichton, you'll bog anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Marooned, where you and I are on our own.
Yeah, Maroon was great. I always thought we should change that, turn that into a stage play and do that in the theatre because it's basically a two-hander until right at the end. I actually think that was a perfectly crafted piece of comedy, really. I mean, it's all about the writing, isn't it? And the writers were really on form. And then, you know, it makes me and Chris's job so much easier when the writers, when the writing's so delicious, you know. Yeah. And there's nothing like the sense of power you get when you've got this line that you're about to say, you know. When you say it, you're going to bring the roof off the place, you know. People are just going to laugh, and it gives you peculiar sort of sense of, I don't know.
Yeah, it gives you a nice lift, you know.
Yeah.
It's great. I think our audience has been brilliant. You know, it's a proper audience show. So you know, we always like to do it with a studio audience, and you know, sometimes you know they were laughing too much, weren't they?
Yeah, so keep it down a little bit.
Exactly, yeah.
No one's going to believe it.
But then exactly. You still get people saying, "Is that canned laughter or is that proper laughter?" But it's always been proper laughter with Red Dwarf.
And it is done like a stage play, it's done like the sets are sort of like that shape. So the camera angles and the audience is there where you are. It's done like a play, really. Anyone else?
What make of refrigerator do you have at home?
I have a smack. I've got a smack fridge. I've got a smack fridge. Well, I had to have one, really, didn't I? We tried to get on board with Smack for a bit of sponsorship, but they declined because in our world, Smack is not something not so good. Yeah.
Can I ask, do you share any character traits with your characters? Is there any part of them in you?
He's totally like him.
I'm certainly like Lisbon. No, I wouldn't say I'm vaguely retentive and an absolute dork. Definitely not. And I wouldn't say Craig is sort of a slob in any way at all whatsoever. We're actors. It's hard work to sort of portray these sort of oddball characters. So look, I think we're all losers in the show. Rimmer is definitely a loser. Lister's a loser, isn't he? We're all losers, just trying to cope. So, and I think there's something in the British small person, you know, going back to Steptoe and Son, and you look at all the great British comedies, Only Fools and Horses, Fawlty Towers. Yeah, they're all kind of down, you know, losers essentially, sort of struggling with something, you know. So, so there's an element of that, you know. I think I'll go home and so, you know, the family will point something that I've done which is not all that good. But yeah, I don't think I'm quite like Rimmer. I couldn't survive otherwise. I'm probably more like Britta, which is the other character I do, which is probably even worse in many ways. But yeah, no, I think we're.
I actually saw it as like the odd couple in space, really, you know, and just about the fact, you know, then when the Cat and Crichton became bigger parts, it's just a case of, you know, it's like a dysfunctional family, really. Just people who don't get on, confined in a small space, where they can't get away from each other, and we just got to muddle through, really. And you kind of wrapped in caught in a bubble, really, because I don't know if you've noticed throughout the series, Lister and Rimmer and Cat and Crichton, they've never really grown up. You know, there's the same energy brought to the part and the same outlook they've got from series 1 through to series 12. You know, they just don't grow. And so
I'm very
you're in
sorry.
limbo.
You're in limbo for
I'm
36
very
years.
sorry for interrupting you, but we did run out of time.
Okay.
So I'm very thankful you came, and also all my colleagues as well.